Mikhail Malyshev was born on October 31st, 1965, in the city of Perm. According to available information, his childhood took place in a socially stable environment. His parents led law-abiding lives, had no criminal records, and did not engage in habits that could negatively affect the family's well-being or the upbringing of their son. There are differing accounts regarding his mother's profession. According to one version, she worked as a schoolteacher. According to another, she was a senior engineer at a thermal power plant. As a child, Mikhail attended a music school and studied violin, but was forced to quit due to a hand injury. In the late 1970s, his parents divorced. This event became a significant psychological trauma for Mikhail. After the divorce, his mother remarried, and in 1983 a daughter was born in the family. The breakdown of the family unit had a profound impact on Mikhail's emotional state during adolescence. During his school years, Mikhail struggled with excess weight, which made him a frequent target of ridicule and bullying by his peers. He was not socially accepted and often experienced humiliation. Against the backdrop of constant stress and emotional tension, aggressive tendencies and deviant behavior began to emerge. As a teenager, Malyshev began killing stray cats and dogs out of hooligan motives, using methods that demonstrated elements of cruelty. In 1980, he was detained by police for animal abuse and subsequently placed under supervision by the Juvenile Police Department. In an attempt to learn self-defense and increase his physical strength, Malyshev began practicing sports in the early 1980s and attended a boxing section. Seeking to rapidly gain muscle mass, he significantly increased his food intake. Due to a shortage of meat products, he decided to consume dog meat. In his later school years, Malyshev demonstrated chronic academic failure and frequent truancy, resulting in his transfer between 3 different schools. After completing 8 grades in 1980, he enrolled in a vocational technical school in Perm, graduating in 1984. Shortly afterward, he was drafted into the Soviet Army. After completing military service, Malyshev returned to live with his mother. During this period, he began displaying increasingly aggressive behavior toward those around him, as well as signs of mental instability. His relationship with his mother and his stepfather deteriorated. They accused him of antisocial behavior and restricted his contact with his younger sister, fearing for her safety. In 1986, Malyshev's mother exchanged the family's large apartment for 2 smaller ones. A 1-room apartment in a 5-story building on Marshall Rabalko Street in the Zakhamsk district was allocated to Mikhail. He would live in this apartment for the remainder of his life. Beginning in 1986, Malyshev worked at the industrial enterprise JSC Sorbent under particularly hazardous and physically demanding conditions. Over the years, he held positions as a welder and a carpenter. He lived a reclusive life, never married, and spent his free time reading and engaging in weightlifting. Among neighbors, however, he gained a reputation as an antisocial individual, largely due to his continued killing of stray dogs. In the mid-1990s, Malyshev resigned from his job because of prolonged wage delays. Facing financial hardship, he began producing homemade alcohol and selling the skins of dogs he killed. In 1995, he met an 18-year-old orphanage graduate named Nikolai, who suffered from intellectual disability. Malyshev allowed the young man to live in his apartment and subjected him to systematic abuse and sexual violence. As a form of payment for housing, Nikolai brought stray dogs into the apartment, which they killed and consumed. During this period, Malyshev was unemployed and increasingly abused alcohol. In mid-1996, Malyshev met a hospital orderly named Inna Borovic, and they began a romantic relationship. He introduced her to his mother and met her father, who struggled with alcohol dependency. Several months later, Inna moved into Malyshev's apartment. Afterward, Malyshev effectively isolated her inside the apartment, subjecting both her and Nikolai to ongoing abuse, torture, and sexual violence. He forced them to engage in sexual acts with each other. As a method of intimidation, he cut off part of Nikolai's ear with a knife in Inna's presence, completely suppressing her will to resist. Malyshev's mental state continued to deteriorate rapidly. He developed pronounced paranoia. He installed a metal front door with multiple locks and peepholes. The windows were fitted with steel bars on the outside and homemade metal blinds on the inside. Some furniture, including a television, was placed inside steel cages secured with locks. He regularly invited individuals leading marginal lifestyles into his apartment, offering them alcohol and food prepared from dog meat. As his alcoholism progressed, signs of severe personality degradation appeared. He developed pathological hoarding behavior. The rooms were filled with granite slabs, barrels of peas, particle boards, exercise equipment, layers of trash, and animal remains. In the kitchen, he installed hooks for hanging carcasses and equipped the space with numerous knives and cutting boards. The first victim of Mikhail Malyshev was 16-year-old Natalia Suvorova, a student at a vocational school in Perm. In late 1997, Malyshev sent Inna Borovic out onto the street with instructions to find a young woman. After meeting Suvorova, Inna persuaded her to come to Malyshev's apartment under the pretext of drinking alcohol together. According to one version, after Suvorova became heavily intoxicated, Malyshev and several acquaintances present in the apartment assaulted her. Another version, presented by a former senior prosecutor, states that no outsiders were present and that the assault was carried out by Malyshev with the assistance of Inna and Nikolai. When Suvorova demanded to leave and threatened to contact the police, Malyshev killed her with multiple blows from an axe. The body was dismembered. Parts of the remains were disposed of in the Kama River and later discovered. Malyshev did not initially become a suspect. Another resident of Perm confessed to the murder under investigative pressure. The second murder occurred in mid-1998. The victim was a man named Anton, who was acquainted with Malyshev. After drinking alcohol together, a conflict broke out, during which Malyshev killed Anton with an axe and dismembered the body. The remains are discarded near a garage complex close to Malyshev's home and were soon found. After the victim's identity was established, police interviewed Anton's brother, who stated that Anton had planned to spend time with his acquaintance, Mikhail Malyshev. Given Malyshev's reputation for animal cruelty, he became a suspect. During a search of his apartment, police discovered packages containing human remains and more than 600 kilograms of meat of unknown origin. Malyshev was arrested and charged. Initially, he denied involvement in the murders, but later confessed under the weight of physical evidence, stating that he had acted in a state of uncontrollable rage. A forensic psychiatric examination found him legally sane, despite diagnosed mental abnormalities. Although investigators suspected him of involvement in additional murders, no sufficient evidence was found. In 2000, the Perm Regional Court found Mikhail Malyshev guilty of 2 counts of murder and sentenced him to 25 years in prison. Malyshev served his sentence in Penal Colony No. 10 in the city of Chusavoy. In prison, he led a withdrawn life, worked in food distribution, and participated in boxing competitions, though without notable success. He did not gain authority among other inmates, but also did not face systematic aggression. Over time, his physical and mental health deteriorated. In October 2022, after serving his full sentence, Malyshev was released and returned to the same apartment in Zakhamsk where the murders had taken place. His return sparked significant public concern, though authorities stated there were no legal grounds to evict him. After his release, he worked as a night guard at a dog shelter and avoided contact with journalists. He did not maintain close relations with his elderly mother. In July 2024, Malyshev gave an interview in which he denied engaging in cannibalism and attributed his actions to severe alcoholism and psychological deterioration, claiming that media outlets had exaggerated aspects of his crimes. Mikhail Malyshev died on December 19, 2025, in the lobby of a clinic in the Zakhamsk district of Perm. The cause of death was reported as liver cirrhosis.